Hey everybody, welcome to Agent Mastermind. So excited to have you guys here and honored to be a part of your lives. I'm really excited about this. We have a special guest, as you can see on the screen. Her name is Kim Hughes, and very special person. I'm just honored to know her. She's been in the real estate business, correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, for about 17 years, and I think you're going to share a little bit about you, but you've been helping top agents all across the U.S. to have more freedom, more coolness factor, growth. More or less, the little video I did was to help people remove the non-money-making activities from their plate. So with further ado, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here, and I'm sure that anybody on this call is going to get a huge some little golden nugget from you that they can take back and implement into their own business. So thank you for being here, Kim.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to share the lead management system with everybody because right now it seems to be the hottest topic out there because everybody, is generating leads so fast that they can't keep up. And so hopefully they will walk away with a couple of nuggets to apply to their business. And at the end, I do offer them a flow chart so that they can monitor their lead management. I think that'll be a big benefit to them as well. So I give them an example, and then I give them a customized that they can fill out for themselves.
Love it. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Sure.
So what do you got for us today, Kim?
Okay. So so just a little bit about me because I want people to understand that if they don't know who I am, that I do have the experience here. So I have had my real estate virtual assistant company since 1999. I am the first real estate virtual assistant. So the model that I have created is one that I created as we went along with the new internet, the new strategies, and everything that goes with the real estate industry. But I've been in real estate since 1983 in different capacities as consultant, business organizing, etc. So with that information, if you want to know more about me, then you can go to the website, kimhughes.com. But that's not what everybody's here for. They're here to learn about lead management. So the thing that I want to talk about first is, when you have all these leads coming in, and I'm going to talk in two ways. We're going to talk about ways that you're already receiving leads, and then if you're sitting there saying, well, I'm not getting any leads, what is she talking about? I'm going to kind of talk about how you can generate leads. So we're going to talk about two things so that we hopefully can cover all the aspects of why everybody is here. So we're going to start first with if you're generating leads, and this is where I look at it and say if you have a company website, whether it's a franchise, your own, a team website, etc., your website should be set up to generate with SEO, and that is working with Google, Yahoo, Bing, and all the other search engines out there. And you should have organic growth on your website so that when people put in your market and looking for real estate, they're hopefully finding you. If they're not, you need to look at why your organic growth is not working. That is different than paid. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kim, can you explain, just in case there's some people on here, and I think everybody knows what organic means, but do you want to explain just in brief detail what when you say organic, what that truly means, just in case, maybe they won't ask the question, I will. Because I know that if you've never heard that term before, I think it's important to know what that means.
It is very important because when you look at a website, so whether you have a subscription website or you have a WordPress website, or you may have a website that's from the old school programming days, which some of us still do, those websites should have keywords that are targeted to your local market. So I'll use because I'm from Texas, I will use like Dallas. So if I was a real estate agent in Dallas, of course Dallas is huge. So I want to narrow it down into my market area. So if I am from Dallas, I may be selling real estate exclusively in Highland Park or University Park or downtown Dallas, or, you want to get real specific in your market and generate your keywords for that. So when the spiders from you know, Google and Bing and all of them come in and they're spidering your website, they're looking at, first of all, what kind of website do you have? The second thing they're looking at is, well, okay, you're in real estate, so where? And they're looking at all of these demographics and all these technical things on the back end, which that ranks you. So the better you have information for the spiders from the search engine, the better they're going to rank you. And that ranking is going to give you that organic growth. So it's very important not to just only have a website that talks to your local market and your consumer, but it has got to talk to your search engines as well. So that's very important to know. And
very
if you
important,
have
yes.
so if you have a subscription website, and for those that don't know what that is, a subscription website is where a real estate a company creates your website. So I'll throw some examples, not partial to any of them, but like Real Pro Systems, Real Geeks, those are a couple that are called subscription websites where they create your template. They have pretty much 90% of control over your website where you can go in and add a little customization, but as long as programming and all the back-end things to do with the website, they handle that. And then they charge you a fee on a monthly basis to do that. Where if you have like a WordPress website, you own the website, you own the template, you know where your hosting is, you probably have somebody managing your website, you have the capacity to go in and do anything you want with it based on your technology knowledge of how to run a website. So there's two different types. So you need to know what you have, and then you're going to be a little bit more limited in the subscription website as far as your organic growth. But it can happen. There's some unique things that you can do by inbound linking, outbound linking, content, keeping it fresh, you know, and everything. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with a website that talks to the search engines so they can give you organic growth. So if you were to look and say, I'm going to look for Highland Park, Texas real estate in Google, and it comes up and it's going to show you all the ads that people pay for, and then under that it's going to show you those websites that have organically grown. And most of the time you're going to see Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, all the big names, and then you're going to start going down the list and seeing the actual companies in that market. So it could be like Ebby Halliday, it could be johnsmith.com and things like that. So when you're looking, keep in mind where do you place in all of that if you are not paying per click. Okay.
Right on.
Does that help? Okay.
So, yeah. I got a question for you, and this is sure. Just me personally, and maybe other people are thinking this. Do I need to have a subscription website to be successful, or can I do it organically? And maybe you're going to show us some stuff, and I just thought I would throw that out there because I'm sure people are thinking, okay, because I know I have a lot of personal friends that do the Boomtown, Real Geeks, all the different stuff that you know, the pay-per-click and the SEO and all that stuff. I just want to know, do I have to do that to have a successful real estate business?
No.
Okay.
And I speak from what I have seen over the years. And so, again, I'm not partial to any particular company. I'm not married to anybody, so I can be very honest about my opinions. And sometimes I make people unhappy when I say what I think, but I say it to help the agent, because today's real estate agents, they do not have time to learn about technology. That's not what they do for a living. They go out and sell real estate. So they need to make sure that the team that they have working behind the scenes knows what they're doing and is working in their best interest. And if you are paying somebody to work in your best interest and they are making a cut, or they work for, you know, ABC Real Estate Company and they are, you know, being paid by them to help you, then you have to keep in mind that they may not have your best interest. I'm not saying they don't, right, but you need to make sure that whoever is working with you to help you succeed has your 100% invested interest, because if you succeed, they succeed. And that's my philosophy on anything. So when you are looking at Real Geeks or Boomtown or Market Leader, you know, just make sure that you ask them the questions and say, maybe because you may sit there and go, well, I don't know what to ask them. Well, then tell them, say exactly what are you going to do for me, and make sure you understand and make sure you read your contract. A lot of times those contracts are not read, and then something happens, and then those subscription sites say, well, you didn't read your contract. You know, you're bound to what this is. And I see that a lot, and then when I can go in and look at that website, I can maybe tweak it to help the agent to achieve the goal. Because the goal is, when you do these websites, is that you're paying for those leads to come in, you know. So you want to make sure that you maximize every aspect of that website so that you have the highest return of investment. And that not only on the ROI, but that you also are converting those leads as well. Because you can get leads all day long. You know, you can get 100 leads a day, and if you're not converting them, then, you know, you're just paying somebody
what's the use? Yes.
for nothing. You know,
yes.
You're leaving
yes. What's
money
the
on the table, and that is the most frustrating thing anybody can have. And that kind of goes into, you can have the company, and not the company, but, you know, these subscription websites, but you may also have your own personal website. So, for example, you might have an account with, let's say, Boomtown, and it's HighlandParkRealEstate.com. Then you might have another website that's by your name. It could be, you know, KimHughes.com. And that is your personal website that's not tied to your company. It's not tied to your pay-per-click leads, your lead generation. This is your own website that, you know, in my opinion, I think every agent should have, but not every agent can put it in the budget, or they don't want to. You know, so you don't feel like you have to have all these websites out there. If you have one and it's working for you, and you're pulling in leads, and people are visiting your website and they're contacting you and you're converting them, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if it's one per day, one per week, or one per month, because if you can convert one lead off of your website, then you pretty much have paid for it. You know,
Absolutely.
I look at it,
yes.
You know, my goal with every agent is, you know, one lead converted per month, every month for 12 months, and then you have a very successful website. And
Absolutely.
That's different than what you hear back in the old days, where people would say, you know, oh, I get 20 leads a day and everything. The numbers really don't matter as much as who's coming to your website. The question now is, how many are you converting? How many relationships are you creating? Okay, so that kind of goes into, I'll get into the relationship part in a minute, but, you know, so once you have your website, whatever it may be, you know, you need to look at it and say, is it working for me? Okay, not working for everybody else, but is it working for you? And does it have the content that you need? Does it have the, when you come to this website, does it answer the questions you have? And if you have a client, you might even say to that client, hey, you know what, I will take you out to lunch if you will just go to my website and just look at it and give me your feedback. Does it answer the questions that you have as a buyer or as a seller? And that can be very valuable information, because you're getting it straight from the consumer. And make sure that they say to you, tell them, and be honest. I want honesty. You don't want market leader telling you, yeah, you got a great market leader website. Of course they're going to tell you that. You know, you want somebody that's not invested. And is it talking to them? And if it is, great. If it's not, what do you need to do to tweak it? You know. So these are little things that you can do on your website that will generate a lead and everything. Then we go into the real estate program. So these are the programs like Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, you know, any program that's out there that generates, you know, that's pulling in the listings and then pulling in the leads for you because you're associated with that program. A lot of these programs offer free to a point. And then after that, you pay for maybe a premier package or a showcase package or something along that line. Maybe you can buy a zip code. Maybe you can buy a neighborhood, you know, some of that. So before you jump in and, you know, because I will tell you, I know those phone calls. I know Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com, they will call you, and you have to remember when you enter that phone and it's a salesman from one of those programs, their job is to sell you their package. That's their number one job. They make a commission, and if they don't make a commission, they're earning credit, and they have to keep their job. So their job is to do whatever they have to get you to buy. I'm not saying they're going to lie to you, but they're going to make it sound like you cannot live without this, and your business will not survive without this program. Yes, it will. You don't need it. There's other ways to generate leads, but if you do decide to purchase it, make sure you know what you're buying, okay? So make sure you know who your competition is in that sphere. So I always tell every agent, your internet competition is going to be different than your direct market competition. So Sue Smith may be your competition on the internet because she ranks high on the search engine. You see her everywhere on these real estate programs. She's all over social media, etc. But then you might have Jan Jones over here who doesn't have all of that going on the internet, but she's killing it because she does great direct marketing. So you got two people you've got to look at, okay, and see what they're doing and what are they doing that you can make it better, okay? So make a note of that. You've got an internet competition and you have direct market. Okay.
Perfect.
So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the programs because, I mean, I think everybody knows what Realtor.com and Zillow and Trulia and all these other programs do. But just remember that you need to know where you are in that sphere of that program, okay? And what leads are you generating from those programs? I have a lot of clients that do not pay for these programs, and they generate a lot of leads. But we nurture those leads, and we make sure that, you know, we talk to those leads in some way, because as long as you're talking to them and you're building a relationship, then those are the ones that you're going to be able to convert. So, you know, you may say, I get 5 leads a week, and I'm not getting anything from them. Okay, but we need to look at what you're doing. You know, once the lead comes into your inbox, what do you do with that lead? And I'll cover that real quick because I want to cover it again later, but more deeply. But somebody comes to you regardless of how they come. This is where I want you to follow those steps to make sure that you have a process in place. You're going to have a system in place for every single program or website or phone call or social media connection or referral. You need a system that's going to help you make sure you stay in touch with that lead and nurture it and create a relationship, whether they're ready to buy or sell now or in a year. Okay? So keep that in mind. Even though that they are not interested right now, they're just kind of looking around, that is not a dead lead. That is a lead that you will need in the future because none of us know what's going to happen in the future of the real estate industry. So by nurturing
so what you're saying is treat every lead as, you know, and I always say planting seeds. So when you have a new lead come in, treat it as if it's it could be a relationship that could yield tons of seeds because of their friends, family, and coworkers as you build that relationship throughout. And it may not be tomorrow, it may not be next month, it may not even be, 6 months, but you don't know when that seed is going to grow. But if you, a great way I like to talk about it is if you're like a farmer when he plants his field, if he wasn't watering it and if he wasn't fertilizing it, nothing would grow. It would grow, but it wouldn't be that good. So if you're continually watering your database, fertilizing your database, and growing it, deeper, it's going to grow.
Right. And, I mean, we all know that. We just have to be reminded. And it's kind of like, I hear a lot of the agents will come to me and say, well, I've been in the business for 10 years, and I have this really great database of past clients, but I haven't talked to them in a long time, and I'm kind of embarrassed to go backwards and reestablish myself with them. And I'm like, well, okay, that's cool. You can be embarrassed. Everybody's embarrassed at some point in their life. Nobody is perfect. Nobody has the perfect system. But you know what? They're going to appreciate you reaching out to them now than never. And why give that opportunity to another agent? So if you haven't talked to your past clients in a while, just say, you know what, it is what it is. I've been busy. It's a busy market. My life is crazy. I have kids. I have a wife. I have this. I have that. You have a life, you know. So people understand how busy everybody is, especially in the world we live in today. So, you know what, life happens, you know, and people understand that. If you're just honest about it and sincere, they appreciate that, because we live in a world that is non-appreciative. And we live in a world that people do not take the time anymore to give that extra level of customer service. So when you step beyond that expectation, you've already won the game. So, you know, my biggest thing is stay in touch with everybody, okay? If you meet somebody at a restaurant and they're sitting across from you and they had something really good on their plate and you're talking to them, you know, and then you exchange business cards, and, you know, reach out to them and just say, you know what, it was great to meet you the other night, and, you know, if I can ever help you with your real estate needs, let me know. Love to have a cup of coffee with you, or, you know, hey, my next event, I'll be sending you an invite. You get that information, you put them on your list, and you make sure you connect with them in some way, okay, whether they are monthly newsletter, your market stats, if you remember to get their birthday, you know, that's your first thing you should ask anybody. Send them a birthday card. Send them a holiday card. You know, spring forward, fall backward. You know, these are things that you can do that are very, what I call old school, but they're old school because they work. You know, so don't reinvent the wheel when it's already there for you. Just, you've got to look at it and say, what can I do that's going to make it my style and my personality, okay?
Gotcha.
So I'm going to jump forward, and, you know, we already talked about the real estate website. Social media, that's a great way that if you're generating leads from social media, what you should be doing is for, and I know everybody's going to sit there and go, oh my God, that is so tedious, but it is so worth it. So I'm going to use Facebook as an example, because everybody has a Facebook account, and if you don't, you should. But say you and I connect on Facebook, and I live down the street from you, or I live in your town or something like that, you're going to, you know, reach out to me because of a connection somewhere. You know, maybe you and I are connected through John, or maybe you and I have the same vet, and we like the business page for the vet, or, you know, something. Then I'm going to send you a request to connect, and then once you and I connect, I'm going to send you a private message, and then I'm going to say something to the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, you know, hey, Scott, it's great to meet you. You know, I look forward to learning more about you, you know, and just keep it very, very simple, very sweet. Don't try to push your real estate business or anything. Just say, hey, you know, it's great to connect. I look forward to getting to know you better. You know, seeing what we have in common, you know, et cetera, whatever. Then you're going to go over to their timeline, and you're going to post, hey, Scott, just sent you a private message, but wanted to let you know how much I appreciate you taking the time to connect with me. And that's all you're going to do.
Perfect.
Then,
simple. Yep.
Yeah, very simple. And you're not being pushy. You're connecting. People do that with you all day long. So
Absolutely.
Then what you're going to do is you're going to take that person. So let's say, Scott, you're going to take Kim Hughes. You're going to put Kim Hughes in your database, and you're going to assign me to a contact type. And that contact type would be Facebook. And then I'm going to go on a drip campaign, and I'm going to get a personal email from you that says, hey, Kim, glad to connect on Facebook. You know, again, I'm paraphrasing. And just wanted to reach out and let you know that I have this great newsletter, or maybe you have the market stats posted monthly to your website. You know, maybe you have a great blog. Maybe, you know, what do you have that you can tell the connection what you have to offer, and why should they be excited about that? Maybe you tell them, say, hey, because we connected, I'm going to send you my 5 steps of how to organize your home, or how to spring clean your home, because now we're in spring, so why not do that? You know, why not create this little report that you can send them that's going to benefit them for that season? Or, you know, hey, check out my blog, here's the link, you know, Would love to get your feedback on it. And by the way, if you ever need any help, with your real estate needs, I am always here to answer any questions you have. And that's all you're going to do.
Yep.
No push me, just let them know, hey, my name is Scott and I sell real estate in your market. And then what you can do from there is decide, look at your business and say, do I have a newsletter? What do I have that I need to put Kim on to stay in touch with her? Do I have a drip campaign that goes out maybe once every month that says, hey, just was thinking about you, wanted to say hi, hey, do you know anybody that's in the market to buy or sell? I would love to be able to talk to them and share with them my background and my experience to help them make the best decisions, whatever that may be, but you have to stay in touch, okay? And then the other thing that people get lost in on social media is when you make the connection, you don't pay attention. So now you've got to pay attention to what that person is doing. If that person has a kid that's going to graduate from high school, you want to make sure that you send them a card and say, hey, congratulations on, Michael, graduating from Mineola High School. This is an exciting time in your life. Just that. You don't talk about the real estate. You're just staying in touch with them. You maybe go over to, and then you're going to post on their Facebook, when you're looking at their timeline and you see what's going on, maybe they went to a Styx concert. And, hey, we like Styx too. Hey, we have something in common. Hey, tell us all about it, and maybe the next concert we can all go together, something like that. So now you're making a relationship take another step, So these are just little things that you probably already know. You just need to be reminded that it needs to be done. And if you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, my God, this is too much for me, you don't have to do it all at once. It can be done in baby steps. Just do something. If you say, I don't have time to find connections, well, then you need to help. You need to find somebody to help you do that. But if you just make one connection a day on Facebook and you interact with that person, that's better than connecting with 10 people and not interacting at all. Okay?
Well, here's the best part that you've talked about so far. So, and this is just, you don't know what you don't know, but for a company website, you don't have to be the one to set that up. Somebody can do it for you. For a personal website, somebody else can set that up for you. You don't have to do it. For the real estate programs, for the social media, someone else could and should, I won't say could, they should be managing your social media for you and doing exactly what you just said, because that's just not, it is money-making activity. It's not like that's somebody else could be doing the exact same things, having those conversations for you. So I just wanted to put that out there, and I believe that's some of the stuff that you teach or do for your clients. But we'll talk about it.
What we want to make sure is that I don't want an agent on this call to sit there and go, oh my gosh, she's giving me more work to do.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to get to. Yep.
For every part, what a real estate agent needs to do is sit down and look at their back end office and make a list of everything that they have, and then, okay, this is what I have. What am I doing with it? If you're not doing anything with it, you need to either, one, get somebody to help you use that program, or eliminate it, delete it, get rid of it, okay? You don't need it if you're not using it. So if you say, gosh, I really want to use this program, I just don't have the time to do that, that's when somebody can help you, Hopefully you're calling me, but if you're not, find somebody, to help you work your business, okay? It could be a high school kid. It could be a college kid. It could be your wife or your spouse. I'm not going to say wife because we have wives, husbands, etc. But, find somebody. It could be the neighbor down the street that's looking for a part-time job. But remember, you have to train these people. They're not going to just walk into your office and go, yeah, I can do that. They can't do that. And I'll give you an example. I'm working with a client right now in New Jersey, and he has an on-site part-time assistant. Well, he has given his resignation, so he came to me. Now, I'm in Texas, so he comes to me and says, I need you to help me find a part-time on-site assistant. Okay? So I sat down and I said, well, in the perfect world, what would that assistant look like? And he told me. We put the list together. I created the ad. I put it out there. had several people come back and apply, but they didn't meet all of his requirements. And he was hung up on, well, they have to know real estate. Well, guess what? You're not going to find people that know that because we are a very tight people, and you know, they're hard to come by. So what I told him is, I said, don't focus so much on the experience. Focus on, is that person going to be dedicated? Is that person going to be professional? Is that person looking out for your best interest? Do they know the basics? Do they know how to get on the Internet? Do they know the Internet? How much technology do they know? What programs? Microsoft, Mac, what do they know? Because then you can train them, okay? If they're willing to train, they're trained. And, you know, so we took out of, I think, 4 interviews, he still was hung up on, well, none of them have a real estate license. They're not going to. But and he kept saying, I don't have time to train them. Well, that's a whole other thing because that's where I'm coming in to train that person. But, you know, there's help out there for the agents. They just need to know that there is help because a lot of agents don't know that. And then they get hung up on, you know, overwhelmed, looking at everything they have to do and go, oh, my gosh. So then they just go into a total shutdown and push it to the side, and then they just go work with their clients. But then their clients are not being managed and followed up with and nurtured for future relationships. So say 2 years from now when you're dried up on leads, who are you going to call, you know? And who?
You know, we always, Kim, my one line that I always use or whatever, I always say, we're not in the real estate business, we're not in the marketing business, we're in the marketing to our database business. Like, we're in a people business. Like, real estate's just the byproduct of it. People are going to buy homes, people are going to sell homes. If we can have somebody just manage our relationships, manage our leads that come in, that's what I think we're trying to get to here, then you are the face-to-face of it, and then have somebody else manage that. That would be a huge asset to you and a growth strategy.
Exactly. So that kind of gives you a little idea of social media. Then, you know, if you have a blog, that's a great way to attract your connections through social media. Because when you're blogging, you're going to put your blog out there on social media, and that's going to attract the consumer. So they kind of talk to each other. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But if you're not blogging, you should be. It's really,
or somebody should be for you.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Is, you know,
necessarily,
but, you know, but when I say blogging, I'm not just talking about articles or, you know, how-tos or DIYs or anything like that. I'm talking about when you have a blog, somebody should be blogging your market statistics, your just listed, your just sold. I have a buyer who's looking for, these great events are coming up. You know, your assistant or whoever, you know, can create a marketing calendar. So what we do is we create social media calendars. And that way my clients all know when we're going to blog, what we're blogging about, and why we're blogging about it. Okay? So we do that at the end of every year. We sit down with every client and put together their social media calendar. And that way they know what we're doing on social media as well as in their blog. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't change, but it gives us a roadmap to start with, okay? So, you know, we always want to look at what can we offer our local market, because that's where your consumer is. When you post events, when you talk about the local football games and, you know, the fundraisers and all the things that go on in your town or in your market, and you blog about it, that attracts people to your website, and then you're offering them the market stats. Hardly any agent offers that, and it's free. And it comes, I think most of them get it from their MLS or their board of realtors. And it's free. All you have to do is get it and put it out there. So so that's the blogging and the social media. Now you're talking about referrals. You know, we all know that if you have a good relationship with your past clients, your friends, your family, et cetera, they're going to send you referrals. But don't expect them to remember to do that. And I have seen so many stories where I've had a client call me and go, you will not believe this, but my next door neighbor listed their house with, you know, Sue Jones, who lives on the other side of town. And why didn't she list it with me? And I was like, well, I mean, have you talked to her in the past 3 months? You know, people are not thinking about you all the time, even though we are people, you know. So you have to get out there and keep people keep your name in front of people, you know. I always say that with past clients, you should be having what I call client appreciation parties every year, or events. Doesn't have to be a big deal. There's some very simple things you can do, and you can go very elaborate, you know. So, you know, not going to get into all that, but there are some great things that you can do for your past clients, and what I always tell them is tell them to bring friends. You know, tell them to bring their best friend, their next-door neighbor, you know, their aunt, their uncle, whatever. Tell them to bring somebody, you know, depending on whatever the event is. You know, if you're having a wine tasting event, of course, that's for adults only. If you're having a movie event and you're showing movies for family, then, hey, bring the other family. Let me know how many are coming. I'll give them some free tickets, you know. It's not a big deal. You know, it's going to pay off in the long run. Okay, so staying in touch with your past clients is probably the -- thing. But, again, we're going to go into internet advertising, which is really, I shouldn't put the word advertising because it's more of just having you out there. You know, are you on your website? What real estate programs? Are you on your company website? Are you on social media? Are you blogging? So that's all internet. But when we talk about direct market, you know, that's where I tell people, are you sending out those just listed postcards to the neighborhood, 100 homes in that neighborhood? Are you, you know, doing things with your local schools? Do you have, like where I live in a town of probably 5,000 people. But I can go to any sport event, and I'm going to see that realtor sponsoring something. You know, are you sponsoring something to show involvement with your schools, with your charities, your local organizations? You know, you've got to be involved. You know, if you have parades, I know these sound hokey, but these work, and people love it, you know. So, you know, if you have the homecoming parade or the Christmas parade, are you involved in that? Are you involved with your Chamber of Commerce? You know, are you going to those chamber events? You know, are you making yourself noticeable in your community? Bottom line, you know. So
you know, it's so many things that you cover that there's so many ways to get business and so many ways to meet people. It is overwhelming, but once you start doing this and you start involving yourself in certain things and you have somebody else doing all this other stuff, it just all happens. It's amazing how much you can actually farm out. If, you know, we always talk about firing ourselves. You have to continue to fire yourself the bigger you get. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how we've set up businesses so that we don't do, like we find out what is the 1% that truly gets us up in the morning and keeps us up at night, that we love doing, we're good at it, and it makes us money, and then we farm out 100% of the rest. It's amazing what happens as long as you're in the know and you're visible and just being a part of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, the thing that I tell people is that we live in a very fast-paced world. We want it now. We don't want it tomorrow. We want it now. But if you're not going to get it now. This is a business where you're going to have to nurture those leads to see the success in 3 months, in 6 months, in 12 months, in 18 months. So this is not something that is immediate. So kind of jump back a few years ago before we hit the housing crisis, everybody was, I mean, living high on the hog. You know, they were like selling homes, overpriced, and, you know, taking in bids, and we had bidding wars. It was crazy. And then you woke up one morning and it was all gone. I mean, literally. You know, if anybody remembers that, you were on this really great ride, and then the next morning it was like, okay, the ride stopped and everybody was off. And, you know, those were the agents that went into panic mode. Now, a couple of things happened. Those agents that did not nurture their business, they kind of went out of business. The part-time agents that everybody thinks, oh, I can do that, well, they're gone. So what it really did is, even though it was a very hard lesson to learn, the thing that I took away from that was those agents that were serious and they treated their business as a business and they respected themselves as an entrepreneur, because that's what you are. You know, you're a real estate agent, number one, but you're also a business owner, and number two, you're an entrepreneur. And if you take care of your business will take care of you. And so during that crisis, those agents that survived, we got down and dirty and we're like, okay, what can we do to keep relationships going even though I have no income, but I need to keep my relationships going so that when we get out of this crisis, we will win because we've been there for everybody. And those agents, you know, were working short sales, making no money. They were giving up their commissions to help people. And when this crisis was over, those clients came back to those agents and worked with them again or referred them. And so even though I literally had a couple of agents that did not take a commission off of anything during that time because it was so hard on the consumer, but they came back and now they're winning, you know. And so it's like what you put out of the universe, you get back. So remember
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yep.
So we kind of jumped ahead of all of our slides, and I happen to have a tendency to do that. But so when you are looking at where your leads are coming from, you need to really review, where do I get my leads? How many leads do I get, say on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly, whatever works for you. But then you need to look at how many of those leads am I converting, and how much is that conversion costing me? Because like I said earlier, you can get 50 leads a week or a month, but if you're not converting them, they're nothing. They're nothing, okay? And when I mean convert, I mean you may convert some to an actual buyer or seller now and have a closing, but I mean converting to be creating relationships, and they're communicating with you and they're talking to you and you're working with them, and you know they may be 6 months out, but you know what, you're still working with them. You've put them in the MLS to receive that, you know, that feed of listings that meet their criteria. You're calling them once every month or every 2 weeks or whatever. So you've got to look at how much time are you putting in versus how much money you're paying, okay? Because money is time, or time is money, whichever way you say that. So you got to keep that in mind. Okay, so just make sure you know where your leads are coming from, and you might have to create an Excel spreadsheet and put, you know, where the leads coming from, what program, how many, say if you're that person that says, I want to know how many leads I get every 30 days, then you have a 30-day column. And then, you know, build your list or your format based on the information you need to know what that program does for you, whether you pay for the program or it's free, you know. I mean, if you get leads from Facebook because you just have a great presence and you're just that person everybody really likes, you want to make a note. I have Facebook. It's free. I get 5 leads a week. I'm converting and doing this, and you can see how that's all going to come together and how long it takes and where your leads are coming from and everything. And when you know that, you're more organized. Okay? Now we're jumping to step 3. The strategy, this is really an interesting thing because a lot of people think I'm crazy because I get very OCD with this strategy. Is, as I said earlier, you have to nurture that relationship, right? So you have to have a strategy. You know, the strategy is you have one way of communicating with a lead that's 0 to 3 months, and then from 3 to 6. 6 to 9, and then 9 to 12, and then 12 out, okay? Because right now people are buying because and selling because the interest rates are low, the market's hot, everybody's happy, everybody's doing their thing and all that. So that could go away in a year. I mean, we're in a presidential year, and whenever we're in a presidential year, the market gets kind of crazy. People start pulling back because they don't know who our next president's going to be. They don't know what's going to happen to the economy. So everybody pulls back, and then once the election is over, then everybody gets back into the swing of things. So just keep that in mind. If this is your first or second time to be a year of an agent, this is going to, this is a year that's going to be kind of crazy. But what you need to do is have that strategy. So how do you communicate with somebody from 0 to 3 months that is looking to either buy or sell? Is going to be different than the way you work with somebody 6 to 12 months. So you have to have a strategy. Now, somebody you're working with immediately, of course you're going to have more communication with them. You're going to call them more. You're going to email them more. You're going to have more action. But somebody that may be 6 to 9 months, you're not going to have so much. So what you're going to hopefully do is have them on a newsletter or something that they are receiving on a monthly market stats, you know, just an email that says, hey, I was thinking about you today, you know, giving them a tip. You know, one thing about email marketing is that you really need to make sure that what you're delivering is of value. Because if you're not delivering value, they're going to delete you and they're going to unsubscribe because they do not have that 30 seconds to give you to read something that they don't think can help them. Okay? So keep that in mind as well. So when you're developing these relationships, just make sure you know what you're doing for each scenario as you have your year built out. Okay? So, I mean, we're hitting that we're at the end of the first quarter of the year. So this is probably a good time, maybe sit down over this weekend and say, you know what, I'm going to map this out for the rest of the year. How am I going to communicate with my leads? Okay. So that again, that could be, you know, just map it out, do a flow chart, you know. But that's my OCD coming out, telling people get very detailed with it. I know we're getting close to our hour, so are we doing okay? Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, we're doing good, yep. No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. This covers step 4 and 5, and then we'll leave a couple of minutes for questions.
Okay. Well, this will be real quick because we've talked about all this now for the whole time. But, you know.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
You know, so when you are developing these relationships, you know, I said earlier that I would talk about you have leads coming in, don't know what to do with them. I think I've covered pretty much how you can take care of those leads. But I think I've also answered a lot of questions to, hopefully, to those that don't have leads. And they're like, well, I don't have any leads coming in. How do I get those leads? Go back and look at that first slide because that's going to give you that list of how you can generate those leads and how much you participate is going to develop those leads. Now, you know, I'm that person that I would make those 25 phone calls a week. I would be out door knocking. I would be handing my business card out to everybody. I would be creating relationships with other business owners. You know, if you have your local dentist, your local vet, make sure that they're talking about you and making sure you're talking to them about how you can help them. You know, if you have a dog and you're at the vet, you know what, you're going to have things in common with other people. So you might have an event that maybe your vet is doing maybe a free, you know, spay and neuter event, you know, that they sponsor or something. Get involved in that. You've got a dog or a cat or whatever they do, people do too. So right there you already have something in common. So that is you go to the event, you're talking about your dogs. Oh, by the way, you know, I'm selling a house in your neighborhood. Or, hey, do you rent or do you own? And that kind of thing. So you can just start those conversations. But then once you've started that relationship with them, you need to make sure that you have a very good CRM program. That's a contact record management program. That would be something like Top Producer, Exact Contact. You may have Less Annoying. You may have More Sold. Whatever that program is that works for you, then you need to be using that program and implementing it or having someone help you set it up and implement it for you. You need to, again, have that strategy. What are you going to be sending out? What are you going to be talking about? Your drip campaigns. Again, the drip campaigns are vital, but they also need to be of value. So don't just use the pre-formatted templates that are in these programs. You've got to go in and customize them to your market, to your personality, and the timeline of that connection. Monthly newsletters are great if you, again, are giving them value. If you're putting together just junk just to get it out, and let's say your franchise offers a newsletter and you're using that, quit doing that. Invest in a great email marketing program and have somebody create your template that's branded around you and have them brainstorm with you, what is it that I would want to receive if I was getting a newsletter from my real estate agent. And that's what you want. Events, market stats, buyer and seller tips, and things like that. That's what people need. They want to be educated, but you've only got them for about 30 seconds to a minute to capture their attention, and then they're gone. Social media, we've already covered that. Email listing alerts. If you come across somebody that's, looking to buy, then you get them on those email alerts. If somebody's you're looking to sell, you want to do a home evaluation. And let me say something real quick about home evaluation. There was some talk earlier this week last week, about the word value. And the real estate industry, like NAR and all the big dogs, they're talking like you can't be telling people the value of their home, because really the value of your home is what somebody will pay for it. So they're getting kind of sticky about how we use the term value. So if you have a website or anything that you're using that says value, I would recommend looking at that and changing it to something along the lines of evaluation, consulting, or something like that, because they're going to start coming down on people, and you might as well nip it in the bud and get it taken care of. Local events, as I said earlier, are huge. You got to be involved in the local events. Sponsor the Little League baseball team, the T-ball team, the girls softball team, the soccer team. Do something and be involved. That doesn't mean just to go put your name on the shirt and write a check. It means to show up. You don't have to be at every game, but you show up, and you're there for the people. Take juice boxes. These are simple little things that you can do that mean so much to people, okay? And then step 5 is, the system should include establishing where your leads come from. And when I say system, I'm talking about whatever your lead management system is, okay? So we want to establish where the leads are coming from. You want to set them up on a target drip campaign. Did you have a question?
No, I was just going to say, no, go ahead. I'll go ahead and finish, and then I'll answer a couple questions that they have.
Target your drip campaign for the program that generates the lead, and then target the drip campaigns that apply to the 3-month rule, which I said earlier, 0 to 3, 3 to 6, etc. Make sure you're doing connections through social media. And let me give you a tip. You don't have to be on every social network. You should have a profile on every social network, but you only want to be on the social networks that your community is involved in. So where I live, I'm on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. But you know what? There's not anybody on Twitter. If I was a real estate agent, Twitter would not be my avenue, okay? Google Plus is not going to be my avenue. But Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest are going to be my avenue. So you got to look at your local market and decide what is your local market doing and drive that traffic to your social network and make it sure that you're in common. Pinterest is huge. So if you're not on Pinterest, you're losing right there. So get on Pinterest. Okay, and then, of course, the monthly marketing data, which I said you can get from your MLS or your board, and it's free. It's shocking to me that this stuff is out there and you don't even use it. So get out there and you start using it. And, again, hosting the neighborhood block parties, past clients, bring friends, really do something that people talk about afterward, okay? I think, is that,
yeah, you did it.
So I think
cool.
We're done.
So a couple people ask about a drip campaign, and man, I love drip campaigns, and what a drip campaign is. It can be many different things. It can be a video, like a series of a ton of videos that go out, and like Kim said over and over again, something of value. Make it like the 10 things. If you go to different things like e-sign articles, or just Google the 10 things you should know about buying a home, the 10 things you should know about selling a home. And you could have a video series or something of that. I would highly recommend a video series, even if you're not on the video, but you're explaining the importance of the 10 steps. And maybe the 10 steps, you do 10 different series of videos that you drip out there. And so you have something of value. When you get a buyer in, you would drip them automated an email every single week or every day or every third day, or maybe you know better than me, but if they're hot and you ask the proper questions when they're going to buy, you could do it accordingly and set them up on a drip campaign so they get something from you automatically every day for the next 7 days, 10 days, or whatever. So
and let me just kind of interrupt you, but there's a good technique out there that anybody can implement, and that is write down the 10 top things about buying in real estate, or go out there and look for that article to give you ideas, and then say, create an email drip campaign that says something like, this is the first email of a series of 10 tips of how to sell your home. So for the next 10 weeks, you will be receiving an email from me with a tip on how to sell your home. And then you take those tips and you just break them down. It could be like one little paragraph. It doesn't have to be a story. It doesn't have to be 500 words. It could be 30 words. But here's a tip, do a garage sale, clean out your garage, and, have 3 stacks, and kind of walk them through how to clean out the garage. And, okay, look forward to next week's tip called, how to have curb appeal, something like that. So you're giving them the tip, and then you're setting them up for the next tip so that they are looking for it. And make sure that you're consistent on the day that it's delivered as well as the time, if you can control the time. But if you say, every Tuesday for the next 10 weeks, you're going to get a tip from me, you make sure that that tip goes out every Tuesday. Okay? It's like clockwork.
Yep. And I think I missed it too, the 3-month rule and the 6-month rule. What were those?
0 to 3 months, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12,
got it.
and 12 out. So
Okay.
just every quarter, I guess. But Scott, if you'll go to the last, I think it's the last slide of the presentation. Oh, I'm sorry. Go to the slide number 8.
8,
and
okay.
If you see in red down there, if you go to kimhughes.com/lead-management-flows-chart, what I did was I created a lead management flow chart. And this flow chart will show you an example of all the programs and where the leads should come in from. And then the second page is the same chart but blank. So you can print it out and fill in your blanks so you don't have to recreate that chart. So this will kind of give you a jump start on what you're visualizing to have your
okay, you can just opt in and get it. Okay, cool. Cool. Love it. Perfect.
Right away.
Okay. There's one other.
Andy.
There is why don't you tell us about this? The real estate playbook. What is that? Is that something different than the flow chart, or what is it? I noticed that was pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that for a second?
The real estate assistant playbook I created about a year ago, so it'll be a year old in April. So it's very fresh. It is a 10-module course for real estate agents and their assistants that you can take to train yourself or to train an assistant to work in your office. So you're covering all 10 areas of the business. So, for example, lead management is one of them, transaction management, listing management, social media, blogging, building relationships, understanding the real estate industry as it is today. So the course, the reason why I created the course is because, of course, not everybody needs me or can afford me or wants to hire me. And so, but they come to me and they say, but I need an assistant. I only need somebody part-time. Okay, but I don't have time to train them. Or you know what, I have an assistant, and then I'm like, they're like a revolving door. They're leaving. After I train them, they leave, and now they're my competition. So I created this course for the agent to say, you know what, I don't have to take the time anymore to train somebody. They can take this course that Kim has put together, and it's a video, audio with a slideshow. So they can print it out, they can listen to the audio, they always have access to it, they can download it, whatever they need to do, and then they don't have to do all the training because the course is going to take them through it. So it's pretty cool. It's been very successful. I highly recommend that, any agent that doesn't really have an understanding of how to control their back-end office or how to set it up or run it, this is a good course for them. If you have an assistant and you're like, you know what, I want to put them through the course and I don't want to train them. I don't want to spend my days training people. Put them through this course and then they'll have that information to how to help you.
Beautiful. And another, Judy, Judy probably feels the same way as a lot of other people. So Judy says, oh my God, this is overwhelming. If I'm part of a team, maybe that could work, but a single agent, Lord have mercy, where do I do this? So here's my thing is I would recommend pick one thing, and the one thing you pick, make sure that it's going to benefit you and your business, and of course that would benefit your family, and work on that for 1 month. and time block it in your calendar and say, okay, from this time, from 9 to 11, I'm going to work on this, or from maybe from 6 to 8 or whatever time works, but that is your time that you work on that one strategy every single day, 5 days a week for 1 month, and then until completion. I think where a lot of us fall short is we see a good idea, we go, okay, I'm going to do this, and then we get halfway done. We call it half-built bridges, and we build the bridge. We build a half-built bridge, and then we see something else that's exciting, and we start building that bridge, and then we have another half-built bridge, and then we get another webinar. So pick one thing, go with it, and make sure it's something that one is, can I delegate it out once it's done? Can I have somebody else run it? Like you could delegate your social media, your email, building a blog. Like there's Fiverr if you want a blog build. Like there's so many different ways to have other people do stuff for you. And if that is your one thing you're going to do, yeah, go ahead.
And the two things that I see with agents is they need to learn to let it go. Listings,
correct.
Marketing their listings, get somebody to do that for you. You don't need to be putting that into the MLS and writing the content and labeling the photos and doing all of that. Hire people. You have photographers that will go out and take the photos and create the virtual tours. Hire them. You will have, the biggest service that we offer is listing management and transaction management. And if you are managing your own transaction, think of how much time you spend making phone calls, showing up for inspections, making sure people meet their deadlines. Don't do that. Hire a transaction coordinator. They will take that time away from you so that you can be doing more productive things and generating more business. That is the biggest thing that I can tell anybody is lead management. You've got to get it under control. You've got to have a system in place. But then also, like Judy was overwhelmed and you telling her to pick one thing and work on it, get up 30 minutes earlier every day. If you say, Kim, I think that's 30 more minutes, then start at 15. I did this with, I'm part of another group that we get up every morning at 5 o'clock and we have like a 15, 20 minutes, inspiration day, how to motivate ourselves. And it's great, but I can't get up an hour earlier. So I started off at
4 o'clock.
Then I got up in 30 minutes, and then the next week. So, don't only do what you know you're going to do. So don't get yourself overwhelmed with everybody else is doing this. I've got to be doing it too. Everybody else is doing this, and that's great, and I'm going to take away what I can take away and implement it into my business so that maybe I'm taking the baby steps, but in the long run, I'm going to make sure it happens. And there's
very cool. So here's all. So Kim, what if someone, I'm sure there's some top agents on this call, and you might be working with some of the agents because I know you sent out an invite for this. But what's the best way to have a conversation with you to go, Kim, you're a good fit, or maybe Kim, you're not a good fit, and so what would you recommend? How do they get a hold of you if they wanted to have? Do you have a consultation? What's the best way to do that? Why don't you talk about that?
If you would like to, and I tell this to anybody, I am more than happy to help guide you in the right direction, and if I can help you in any way, then we can see how that relationship can move forward. But I do invite anybody on the call today that if you want to take advantage of a 30-minute, what I call a discovery call, and it's free. Reach out to me. Go to my website. It's kimhughes.com. Email me, kim@kimhughes.com, or call me. My phone number is on the website. And, I prefer not to call me because I may not be available, but email me and let me know what your availability is. Say, hey, Kim, I can talk on Friday morning at 9 o'clock, and give me your top 3 things that you would want to talk about. And then that way I can and make sure I have your information so that I can go look at your website, I can go look at your, Facebook and see what you're doing so that when we do have that call, then I can have something to bring to the table. Because I really want, if I'm going to talk to you for 30 minutes, I don't want to hear for 15 minutes what you are, who you are, when I can go research that and be prepared to have that call and get the most out of it. So, call me. I mean, it doesn't mean we have to work together, but at least I would walk away with, you know what, we may not work together, but at least I gave them some information that they can now put in place. Yeah.
And that's what I liked about you. You're just a giver, and I really appreciate you just doing that for the people on this call. Princess says you work in Canada too as well, so I think you do work with Canadians as well.
Oh,
awesome.
Sure.
All right. So yeah, it's all pretty much the same.
I work with
all right, cool.
The Bahamas and the Virgin Islands.
And
so
you live in Texas.
Everywhere.
What is going on with it? We need to switch that up. Like, you need to work from the islands and like.
Well, you know what? I keep telling my husband we need to go to Belize. I need to go to Belize and sit on the beach.
a good friend of mine just bought a house in Belize. I'm surprised you said that. That's really funny.
So, well, we have friends that keep telling us, okay, we need to go buy a house in Belize, and I'm like, I haven't even been to Belize, so let me go visit first.
Yeah, that's absolutely, you need to. It's beautiful. She loves it, so they're having a good time. But Kim, I appreciate you. It's been a great session, ton of information. And guys, I guess the biggest message I can give, and Kim would back me up on this, is we can't do everything. We can't be everything to everybody. So that's why we have to have a team in place. And it's amazing when you let go of what you hate doing. Stop doing stuff that you hate. Two is, what do you love doing, and then focus on that. And then even if it's 2 hours a week, like there's people out there that want to only work 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week, 10 hours a week. And as you do, like they do the stuff that you really don't need to be doing, or you hate to do, or you shouldn't be doing, you're doing the money-making activities that are going to generate the leads and the traffic, and you have the call to action, you have this stuff set up, or 2 hours a week can go a long ways if they're only working on one project for you to put you in a better situation for your business. So, Kim, I sincerely appreciate all your help. I appreciate you being here, and you're awesome for helping the real estate community. And we need a ton of other people that are great like you. So I hope that you guys do take advantage of Kim's offer to have a conversation with her, even if it's just a conversation. But all I can say is, if you do talk to Kim or have a conversation with Kim, be brutally honest with yourself of what that is that you need help with, or what you think you need help with, and Kim's going to be brutally honest with you on what that is, because we've got to be prepared. That's right. No sugarcoating here, no cupcakes coming your way. So
that's right.
All right, thanks so much, everybody. So if you're joining us for the first time and you aren't part of our private Facebook group, go to facebook.com/groups/Agent Mastermind. And for everybody still on the call, next week I'm going to share with you how to use Facebook groups, private groups that is, to take over and own neighborhoods. So you don't want to miss it. Look forward to seeing you on class, same time, same place. Kim, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And you guys have a great day. Be safe, and have a great week. See you on the web. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.